about this. That's the thing. It is a thing we never speak of. It just exists on my face. We're not going to speak about it. So that is going to be Impact versus Gatekeepers, which means, well, you don't know what we have up next, but I do.
What's up next?
Well, you do kind of know.
Tell me.
But you might
What
forget.
we got?
Pulse Drunk and We Dem Boys.
Oh, okay, We Dem Boys, of course.
We Dem Boys.
Bloods, Lorio.
Yep.
The two that have been playing together for quite a while. Pretty excited to see these guys play. Bloods, a Croak main from way back in the day, a BLC pro too, so this guy's been around the block. Crazy thing is he's only like 16 or 17, and he played BLC like 6 years ago or something. So this dude was like a youngin', yeah.
You're telling me a 10-year-old played BLC?
I think he might be 18, so maybe 12, but anyways, he's very
That's
young,
still
and he's been around the block. And Pulse Drunk, a team that kind of surprised everybody by making it into the BPL. Everybody was talking of them like they were just some solo queue stack, some like random people that wouldn't quite make it, but they came in and upset quite a few teams, and I'm excited to see them play and what they bring to the table, because in all honesty, I'm not too familiar with any of these players.
So while we have a couple minutes, I think we should maybe speak on the difference we've seen from North America to Europe. So if you missed out on yesterday, we just in general already, just the champions, we didn't see any Jamongs in North America. Did we see Palomas?
I think we saw one.
We may have seen a Paloma.
Yeah, we saw Will the Beast play Paloma.
And I think like a Thorn.
Yeah.
So the fact we've already seen plenty of Thorns and we've already seen plenty of Jamongs just shows the difference in how these teams have to approach. And a lot of it is, well, what is the meta that you're in the middle of?
Yeah.
If the meta in Europe is different, well, you're going to have to pick different champions in the middle, which is why the LAN's going to be the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
All the trash talk aside, I just want to see how people perform.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing the Rygon in North America makes a lot of sense that we're not seeing it here simply because of how North America plays. So aggressive, so in your face. North America goes. We are goers.
Yeah.
We go in, we fight. But we're seeing these EU teams play so objective oriented. They just stay back towards mid, and Rygon really can't sustain in that kind of fight because he wants to go in and fight, which is why we see the Thorn picks instead. I really like how Europe is playing with Thorn and just controlling mid and playing very safe and very standard and trying to take the game through a war of attrition.
All right, so the draft is ready, and remember, it is a single blind draft, one round at a time. So each team is going to pick one champion behind curtains, reveal it, and do that down the line until all three are chosen. So we have Pulse Drunk and We Dem Boys starting out with a Thorn on Pulse Drunk and a Jamong on We Dem Boys. Look, how genius am I? I'm just talking about these players picking Thorns and Jamongs. Oh, no.
Yeah, you talked about Jumong, I talked about Thorn. Look at us. This is why we got that seven-figure esports salary,
This is why we're here. Yeah. Not a freak accident. But all right. I mean, pretty thematic in Europe, right? So we're probably going to see Control play on that Thorn.
Yes.
And Jamong with potentially two melees or people that can keep people away from him so that he can just dump damage. I mean, that's kind of how you have to pick Jamong.
Yep.
I mean, there haven't been a lot of people, I think, that have shown a masterful Jamong outside of, like, at least in North America. Averse has. There's been a couple in Europe, but he has, I think, struggled in competitive threes. For a long time.
There was a point in time in which he was incredibly dominant, but he did teeter off for a little while around the Destiny patch when Destiny came out and started just destroying everything, and we haven't seen him since. He is now back. We have some pretty interesting picks here. I like seeing the Xander. We pulled up that stat recently. The Xander has the highest win rate in GC in terms of a support.
That is true.
Seeing him with the Thorn is going to be very interesting. Of course, having Portal in addition to Burrow is a huge asset to Thorn, as sometimes you just kind of hard commit, and you don't have that out available through your own abilities. The Freya is a pretty good answer to the Thorn. Of course, static being applied on any melee is going to cause them problems. So it'll be very interesting. I want to see what healer We Dem Boys is thinking of playing. I'm thinking I might see an Ulrich.
I mean, probably to help support that Freya.
Yeah.
I don't know if a ranged one would do so well, and it looks like we are going to actually see a Lucy.
Cool. I like seeing Lucy. Jade being the last pick by Pulse Drunk. Thor and Jade, kind of a wombo combo style of thing.
Yeah.
You get that entangling roots, you set up that snipe, you just go for the big burst of damage. It's very emblematic of how Europe wants to play. They want to play slow and methodical and hold mid control and get these easy combos. So I really like the way the draft Pulse Drunk is bringing to the table. Of course, Xander plus Jade, an incredibly strong comp. If you damage amp, if you get damage amp and you have the blasting pistols Battlerite from Jade, your M1s are going to do 10 damage a pop, which is absolutely insane. And I really like the Lucy too. This is two very interesting drafts. I'm excited to see how they interact.
It's definitely going to be a much different interaction than we'd seen, and I think Lucy being that final pick, Lucy is probably one of the most counterable supports.
Right.
And you always want to be super careful when you pick her. So picking it last, understanding, all right, well, none of these people can punish me too much. She can deal with a Thorn. She can stay away from Thorn. She doesn't have a Freya or a Shifu or a Rygon she has to deal with. But, again, remember, we give you guys a little bit of power before the broadcast. You can go vote and see who you think is going to win. And you can actually use those points that you earned to win chest. And this time,
close.
Who'd have thought? Another 50-50 split. You guys either don't know anything about Europe or you think you know everything about Europe. And I don't know which one it is. So either you're both just, and please don't just click Who am I kidding? I clicked a couple that I didn't really know. Who am I kidding? We all want the points. No, but you'll learn these teams overall, and I imagine we're going to start to see a little bit more swings as it goes forward.
Yes.
And whether people just get more famous, maybe. We saw a little bit of the fame votes earlier when a couple of big streamers are getting votes. But still, do you feel like the split here is fair?
Honestly, I don't know enough about Pulse Drunk to say comfortably. I don't think I have a strong enough opinion in either side to say.
All right. Well, we're going to get into it in a few minutes, so I guess we can talk a little bit more about what we have to look forward into. Maybe not a few minutes, maybe just a couple seconds. I've been swiftly, I wouldn't say reprimanded, but I've been told very much otherwise. But as far as to look forward to, Xander, in the beginning, people thought Xander was bad. He had no damage output.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And then people realized that utility is king in this game. Being able to move people around, being able to literally give people extra escapes, multiple escapes. You have debuffs that literally help you magnify damage. You have an entire hard CC that turns someone into a freaking animal, a sheep. You just turn them into a sheep, they walk around like idiots while they take magnified damage. So his kit is very strong, but people have said the phrase, I don't know if it's always true, but he's as strong as his team. Yes. He definitely is not going to find nearly as much value unless he has teams to follow up on everything he does.
Yep. Couldn't agree anymore. I think a lot of how B-Biceps does is going to be reliant on how Geekish Nerds plays on the Jade. And, against this draft, I'm not too confident for the Jade. As a Jade main myself, I know I have a lot of problems with Freya. And Buse on this Freya, somebody that's definitely comfortable playing against the Jade, is going to know how to apply the pressure he needs to.
We know the Jamong. He's going to have the barrier from Lucy mixed with Freya running around either helping peel for him or help deal damage with him. So I think Jamong should actually have a pretty comfortable game in general, being able to sit back and put out as much damage as possible. We had a name for that fish. What was the name for that fish?
Oh, I forget. I'm going to call him Steve.
It wasn't Steve, but we'll go with Steve for now since I'm ashamed I forgot.
Xander applying hearts early on makes a lot of sense. Gives that little damage reduction. Nice to have.
All right, Freya going right in. Both her iframes are down and her counter, so they're just going to try and punish, but the barrier will save her. Interesting portal. I didn't think Thorn was in any damage pressure there, so I'm surprised they put the portal down. We're going to see the orb coming in mid. The pull, and red team will secure it. Lucy just goes with it to help secure the orb.
The double rain of arrows here getting a lot of damage onto the Thorn in return. Not ideal at all if you're Sephiroth down.
EXM2, there's going to be the I Am Thunder, but the Bard Pass will negate all that damage, but not enough from Jamong. Blood Assassin, there it is, the comfort. He's just standing back there, wailing damage, dumping energy on health bars.
Ooh, the orb is going to be taken by Pulse Drunk thanks to a snipe from Geekish Nerd. Really nicely done, but this Freya is really running roughshod on this backline.
She's just doing what she wants, and I thought she would have gotten punished so hard early on after dumping everything. Oh my God, there we go!
Carbon, where did he go? There was a Freya in this game 1 minute ago, and now she's gone. The Dragon Slayer is going to be the return. They need to find this kill on Geekish Nerd, and they will! That sick Clarity Potion from Lorio going to push the Jade back into the goo and cleanse the stealth. Now in a 2v2 situation, this could go either way, but Pulse Drunk securing that orb, a little bit of a favorable situation for them.
I think even Booze is a bit impressed with the amount of damage he was just able to get smacked with.
Yeah. He's like, sorry guys, sometimes you just die to Arcane Catalyst.
But the sustain right now on the side of Weedham Boys is going to be really difficult between the 50 health barrier shield, the heals on Blood Assassin for himself, and Lucy, being a support and all.
Yes. Of course, Lucy and Jumong, a very sustaining comp. Blue team going to have to find these big bursts if they want to end up killing him. The goo is going to be canceled out. It is now cast, and the damage on Sephiroth is huge. The Barbed Husk negates the Dragon Slayer, though, but a Panic Flask immediately after the Barbed Husk gets so much damage.
Blood Assassin stays away, and there is the portal to barely save Thorn. He's just going to portal as far as humanly possible. The Rain of Arrows won't catch him, but now B-Biceps is stuck in a bad spot. The EX spacebar, that was great. He came back. He's like, you portal me, I'll EX space you.
And they get the orb. That's huge, but this is still a pretty significant lack of HP on the side of Pulse Drunk. Pretty far behind here, and Sephiroth might just go down. Oh god. Oh god. That's all I had. I was like, oh no. The Dragon Slayer being charged up with the Entangling Roots. Or not with the Entangling Roots, but with the CC is going to go down.
Weedham Boys take the first round even after Booze got legitimately erased.
Yeah, he just got ruined. We were talking about how he was like doing whatever he wanted, had a ton of HP, and then we see the power of Arcane Catalyst. We talk about Xander's strengths, that's it. Sometimes you just get that Arcane Catalyst on an enemy and burst him down in like 3 seconds.
Didn't help that he also got smacked by both ultimate M2s from with the Arcane Catalyst on top of that. So B-Biceps did enough damage himself before that debuff even showed up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the early game went heavily in favor of Weedham Boys. There was that critical mistake where they were able to burst down Freya, but outside of that, they had a lot of control.
Freya having a lot of success this time, hitting a lot of snipes as Geekish Nerd. Very impressed by his play so far.
Snipes are going to be a massive value, and there actually one to help secure the orb. Geekish Nerd will get in-capped, but look at the health he's got. So much, and already an ultimate.
Wow.
Eat this. He knows the counter's down for Boost. Boost is going to eat 2 of those snipes to the face.
Ooh, the Dead Roots is going to come out too. The counter is finally available, so the snipe will not be effective. But blue team looking okay.
Oh my god.
Xander eats that M2 from Bloods. Not ideal.
And there were 2 of them stuck in 2 range of arrows. I think those 2 range of arrows just dealt like 80 damage cumulative.
Yeah,
Missing the entangle on Blood Assassin is going to be pretty bad right now.
And the red team, we see the classic Europe play here. They pose forward and hold blue at the choke, waiting on this next orb, which is spawning in 10 seconds. A nice double rain of arrows, not allowing the Jade to snipe freely.
Even eating the snipe. Jamong knowing he was okay. There's the ultimate cancel. Now the ultimate from Freya coming down, helping them secure that orb.
Yeah, Polstrunk do secure the orb. Pretty desirable for them, I think. Or We Dem Boys actually getting it, but Polstrunk playing so defensively here, down 40% HP, Carpet.
Thorn a little frustrated. He walked right into that trap. The stealth after Geekish Nerd. Freya wants to try and go in, knowing that a couple cooldowns have been used. Good cancel on B biceps for the M2, and they do secure an orb, but look at what Thorn took to take that. He almost has an ultimate, though, so they can get another combo here. There's the entangle. Oh, couldn't get the debuff. Prowl came out first. There's an ultimate, but almost no value in damage, just a little bit in mobility.
Oh man, all of the ultimates coming out here from Polstrunk in a little bit of a desperation. They're not able to get any value out of any of them, and We Dem Boys secures that 5th orb.
Pushing that out of the claw grip from Thorn. Here comes another ultimate. He couldn't find the Invis Jade. He really wanted to find a Geekish Nerd. So high in health right now, but they know he's one of the more difficult ones to lock down. Sephirodad gets pushed back into the goo. Stays alive just barely. There's the ultimate from Jade, but it doesn't find enough value either. And look at this. Slowly, We Dem Boys are just shredding through. There's 1 kill.
There was a nice double snipe from Geekish Nerd, but it wasn't enough to bring him back into this round. Now, Sephirodad, all that's left. I'm really impressed by Lorio's play, Carpet. He's doing so well. These goos are so massive in terms of the damage they're outputting. We saw him catching 2 in the goo that round, and a nice clarity potion to keep the Thorn in and ensure they get the kill. And Lorio's really tearing apart Polstrunk.
We haven't really spoke too much on the pros and cons of goo. It is an unbelievably strong ultimate.
It's good.
Once you know that somebody has no mobility.
Yeah.
It's like you were guaranteed a lot of damage. Especially if you have a clarity potion off cooldown, you're pretty much guaranteed all of it.
Yep, and that's one of the staples of a good Lucy. You'll always see that clarity potion saved with the ultimate, and we're reliably seeing Lorio bumping people back into it.
But the con of it is that they know that from that point that Lucy has no energy, so she doesn't have roll.
Right.
But if there's no pressure on Lucy, she can just all willy-nilly throw out them ultimates. If no one's putting pressure and actually punishing her, she's not going to feel the con.
Absolutely, and we're seeing why there's no pressure on Lorio in this round even. He's positioning so perfectly so far back. He finally gets hit by an entangling roots, but We Dem Boys still secures the orb. The EXM2 from Sephirodad going to come out, but still, this Lucy is almost untouched, just heal-botting her allies.
Boo's trying to negate as much damage as possible. WASDing after taking almost half health in that first engage. Blood Assassin having a lot lower health than we'd ever seen out of him.
Yeah, not having a great time this time is Bloods. The red team, they desperately need this orb since
That's
2 of their players are so low, but they're not even going to get it.
The EX base mixed with the EX M2 from Thorn is going to take down Freya once her counter wasn't hit. Wow, this seriously turned in. Polstrunk really just that early control. Look at the damage that everyone from We Dem Boys had within the first 30 seconds. We saw Freya at half health. We saw Jamong down at about 3/4 health. All from that first push in. Thorn playing a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about the Lucy, but what we didn't mention is how Sephirodad was trading so favorably with the other 2 players on We Dem Boys. Both the Jumong and the Freya not able to get enough damage on Sephirodad to punish his engagement, and he really just tore up those other 2.
2 rounds for We Dem Boys, 1 round for Polstrunk.
We'll see how this goes moving into this next round. I'm very excited. Polstrunk proving that they're not out of it just yet. Sephirodad pulling it back with some pretty impressive aggression. B Biceps playing incredibly well also.
I imagine we'll see the same thing. He's trying to bait out a couple cooldowns. There it is.
Nice.
He's baited out the counter. That's huge.
Yes, absolutely huge. And now the Freya goes in without the counter. And this other snipe going to be charged and get that nice long stun onto Bloods. Bloods spacing aggressively forward and being punished for it hard.
Freya knows it. She's got to stay in to make sure she finds value. No counter, though, no space. She's missing out on cooldowns, and that's it. Booz, it has to be so careful. The barrier came down. She needs so much help. Another counter not hit.
Snipe.
And the snipe flick from Geekish Nerd. Freya has to retreat.
Yeah, very nice snipe there from Nerd as he finds the Freya once again, and her max HP is now incredibly low. She has to be so smart with how she engages Carpet.
I almost feel like Booz isn't really playing with respect right now, just not being very aware of when she's using that counter, going in with so many cooldowns, and there it is. Finally, one of her counters gets hit. She gets an in-cap on the support, wants to follow suit.
Ooh, a nice Barbed Husk there negates a lot of that Rain of Arrows damage, but 2 characters hit that counter. The Goo is available, as is the Portal, and now the Spotlight going to help heal up the Xander and the Jade quite a bit. And now playing as a group are Pulse Drunk, and they might find a big burst of damage onto the Freya, but they don't, and Weed and Boys secures the orb.
Geekish Nerd finding so many values in the snipes. I think she has the Cloak Snipe recast.
Ooh, the Prowl being forced out. Blood's playing so defensively here. A nice snipe, a huge burst of damage coming out onto the Lucy. She's forced to roll away and play so defensively. On the other side of the fight, Buse is dropping his ultimate, but now he's left with next to nothing. He's trying to counter. He gets the shield proc, but Red secures the orb. That's so important for them as Weed and Boys were starting to fall pretty far behind.
Blood Assassin nearly enough for an ultimate. He just had to use some energy, but maybe we'll see him try and get the final kill. Buse has almost nothing, which means he needs to retreat. He needs the safety. The Portal there just in case. I think a little bit too preemptive.
Oh, the Portal accidentally stacked with the Barbed Husk. A little bit unfortunate here. And the Goo coming out now. Huge damage in the Freya, making sure Geekish Nerd does not escape, and he won't.
We saw punishes back and forth, but the final one onto the Jade. The Goo coming down. Thorn will follow suit, which leaves Biceps.
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 Biceps. Is that what we're calling him? Biceps?
That's what I want to call
Biceps?
That is the one glory of a caster, is that these players are stuck being called whatever I call them.
We get to dictate what their names are for the time being.
It is the little power I have.
Weed and Boys, though, playing really well. Buse doing a great job navigating that minefield of the low HP Freya. He had to dance around a lot of abilities to make sure he was still able to have an impact, and he did. Weed and Boys pulling up 3-1 moving into round 5.
3, 2, 1.
Mistakes on both sides, but the punishment from Weed and Boys proves to be just a bit stronger. But I'm really liking the value that Geekish Nerd is finding in this Jade. So many landed snipes. That time, just the bluff.
He was like, you won't counter.
You won't counter. You know I'm going to cancel. Just smack right into his face. And another counter not hit. Now Freya with the magnification of damage is going to be in a tight spot. She just jumps in instead. Meanwhile, on the back line, look at this Thorn taking Lorio down to 3/4 health. But red team secure the orb again.
Yeah, Lorio, I think he got pulled early on and put him in a pretty bad position, forced to play so defensively now, and the Freya getting very low too. Her counter's not procced, and that means the ultimate's going to be dropped from Geekish Nerd. He gets a little bit of value, but the barrier's there to ensure if Freya doesn't die. A nice silence on the Blood's Assassin ensures that the Dragon Slayer won't come out. Still, this Freya managing to stay alive, and they might find the counter kill here, and they do. Sephirodot actually goes down, hunting a little too hard for Blood's head.
Committing just a bit too hard, knowing the Freya didn't have the cooldowns, but then smacked into a counter would slow down that kill. But there it is, finally, Jade conditioning this Freya into thinking that she'd sniper. She baited out the counter. Jade wanted to get the double snipe. 2 snipes on anybody. Well, not anybody. 2 snipes on Freya, but that time she does snapshot directly into the counter.
Yeah, not ideal there. The red team going to secure the orb, and with it, likely the round. Things not looking too good. Geekish Nerd and Biceps are going to have to pull off some crazy comeback, get some big Arcane Catalyst snipes if they want to take this round.
There's going to be one of them.
Oh! The Freya ultimate going to get dropped, going to deal quite a bit of damage to the Xander, but he's able to make it back and spotlight himself back up to full. Things are still looking so dicey. Red going to secure yet another orb carpet.
Oh. No! The M2 piercing went straight through and got him an orb. So now Jade does have an ultimate. If we saw Booze getting a little cocky earlier and using a lot of cooldowns, but I think he'll be safer now. Trying to walk in front with a counter, and she does so successfully. Geekish Nerd now, no more meter in the bar. That could have been the end of it. That might have been their last try.
That was a nice snipe there, landing onto the Lucy and ensuring that she got hit by that sheep. Red team getting an orb, pretty good for him. And no matter how many snipes or ultimates this Jade hits from this point on, they're going to need to get true HP. She needs to start bursting these characters down.
Freya, another counter hit. Trying to be a little bit more intentional with when she casts it.
Now the sudden death coming in. Pulse Drunk going to be forced to play in.
Yeah, this is it. This is done.
Yeah, this is looking pretty rough here. The Dragon Slayer going to come out. He's not going to hit the stealth target, but he will still be okay as Biceps forced around the corner. He does reconnect with his ally, but not going to matter too much.
Pulse Drunk getting close round after round, but just not close enough. Weed and Boys are able to get the real punishes that secure the kills. Like some really good punishments from Pulse Drunk, but it rarely results in an actual death.
Yeah, it's interesting watching Pulse Drunk play in comparison to the other European teams, because Pulse Drunk, maybe a little bit of that solo queue mentality. We saw Sephirodot hunt so hard for that kill on Buse instead of just controlling mid. We've seen other teams, gatekeepers namely, holding mid for the entirety of the round, playing safe, playing patient, playing smart. Sephirodot overcommitting a little bit in that round, maybe costing it for him.
Weed and Boys on match point. Sephirodot trying to play a little bit safer. There's his Booze. He's going to take some range smacking right now.
Yeah, big damage onto this Freya. Jade already at 50 energy, getting close to that ult. And if I know anything about Geekish Nerd, it's that he wants to press that F button.
It looks like the shortened distance on Jade's M1's actually just could potentially costed her from securing that orb. But M1's falling just a little bit short.
Ooh, nice snipe there, but up top, Biceps is just getting ran at by the Freya. A beautiful placement. Sick play from Buse ensures that Biceps get hit. A nice read on the movement of the support player. The Dragon Slayer going to come out now too. The Barbed Husk negates all of that damage, but still, they're so far behind now, and Weed and Boy is poised to take the orb.
That was a pretty dirty cast time on that Barbed Husk, just as that ult came in his favor, or came in his direction, I should say. The grouping right now, and you can see the punishment onto the support. Xander needing to use Portal only for himself to find victory, and or at least to try and find survivability. But that means he's losing so much value with his teammates. The Invis Jade actually being found by the M2 from Blood Assassin. 90% health pool to 28. It's looking like We the Boys have this in the bag.
We saw Buse take quite a lot of damage here, though. Not too ideal. The Petrify coming out onto Jade down bottom, helping Red Team secure mid, but they're going to need to get a huge burst. The Dragon Slayer comes out and actually finds the kill on Xander, hits the illusion and the Xander proper.
And that means that Thorn has no more support. Thorn's probably going to go down with no more cooldowns in his favor, and the Jade knows her fate.
But yeah, we saw We Dim Boys that time. They pushed in. They were the aggressors onto Pulse Drunk in that bottom left corner. But the one difference is that Buse held enough of his cooldowns to make it out alive. He was able to hold his spring and space away when things got dicey for him. And We Dim Boys just secured that last orb, and with it, the round.
Pulse Drunk got close. They were able to take a round.
They were.
They weren't really close in this series, but I think they showed a lot of spurts of being able to coordinate as a team. But as you said, it seemed like a couple times maybe one of them would just space out too much. They weren't always coordinating their cooldowns, and whenever they group up, notice when Xander got punished and then he didn't get support, he was constantly having to use his portal only for himself.
Right.
After that first moment, he never got it back on rotation when he needed it, and then when all of a sudden he felt pressure again, he's like, I got to use it for just myself again.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, and a lot of times, sometimes it means your team needs to come help you enough to where you can hold off on it. You shouldn't be forced into it, but that also means that Booze knew, okay, now I know when it's coming back up, so I'm going to keep punishing you. But we saw the critical moment of what we know Arcane Catalyst can do.
Oh gosh.
Freya getting destroyed.
Oh gosh, this gives me a little bit of PTSD playing against Xander.
Yeah,
Thinking about this again.
It's difficult to see right off the bat, but when you know that debuff is there, you can just start laying it thick.
Yeah, we see it down bottom. One of the main reasons you pick Xander is so you can do stuff like this. The Arcane Catalyst is applied, as is the Jade ultimate, and in like 2 seconds, the Freya goes from like 160 HP to next to nothing.
And even you have to understand, they shred through an entire barrier, shred through even more heals on top of that, and more shields from Freya. So that wasn't just her full health bar. That was her full health bar and then some.
Yeah, had there not been a barrier, that was a dead Freya.
She did. I mean, Booze, I don't know. I was kind of up and down with Booze. I think in the very beginning, Freya went in, but then I think he wasn't really showing a lot of respect to his opponents because he would just pop his counter for no reason. He wasn't really thinking about it. And that's where you saw those early punishments, and that's when they lost that one round, or when they had to essentially make it till sudden death. Because I think Booze wasn't really particularly playing Freya at maximum capacity. At least what we know Booze can do. I mean, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but it felt that way for maybe the middle rounds.
I think a lot of the toss-ups didn't go his way, and that's just the nature of the matchup sometimes. Sometimes you will think the Jade's going to cancel her snipe, and you'll just not counter, and then you'll get sniped. We saw that a couple times.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
It's just a lot of mix-ups, and, at the end of the day, you're not going to win all those.
That is very true. So I think going forward, what do we want to see from
Pulse Drunk. I think a lot more restraint. I think the thing they need as a team is restraint, recognizing when they can push in, play aggressively, play that and when they can hold mid and play that standard EU meta style. They just need to be able to punish together as a team, like we saw Game On do earlier when they played so closely together. And we need to see them be able to hold mid and just secure orbs.
All right, well, coming up on the halfway mark, that's going to be 4 matches.